This is 93 Million with Doug Andrew. Welcome to 93 Million with Doug Andrew, where we talk about how to optimize your assets, minimize taxes, and empower the three dimensions of your authentic wealth. My name is Greg Dukowitz, your host, facilitator, and IUL specialist. And in today's show, we're talking about taking advantage of market crashes. Yes, you heard that right. Can arbitrage drastically increase your retirement income? And does making extra mortgage payments make sense? And we're joined by the OG of properly structured IUL, author of the Laser Fund, and creator of the Laser acronym and the Laser test, Doug Andrew.
Great to be here, as always.
Good to have you, Doug. The master of the max funded IUL, co-author of the Laser Fund, and a man who's very familiar with the effects of a kidney stone, Emran Andrew.
There's no gain with no pain. No gain, no,
we may have
no
to,
pain, no gain.
We may have to cut this early if he's going to deliver that baby during the show.
That,
hey, can we add that to the discussion? How to properly pass a kidney stone?
No, I don't think we should. It's painful just talking about it. All right.
Okay.
A man who is a technician of IUL, also co-author of the Laser Fund, and someone who reviews COI ratios in his free time, Aaron Andrew.
Nerd.
I'm doing that right. That's why my computer
Nerd.
right now.
Nobody even knows what those are, but it's very complicated. All right, and our featured host for today, top IUL specialist and someone who always has a good story to tell, Scott Reynolds.
Hey, he's got a kidney stone. Want me to talk about it?
All right. Okay, let's get off of that. We'll jump into some really good topics for today. Let's jump right in. Taking advantage of market crashes. Studies like Dalbar consistently show that investors tend to underperform the stock market due to emotional timing during periods of market volatility. In fact, since the turn of the century, we've seen the dot-com bubble, the 2008 Great Recession, and the COVID pandemic all wreak havoc on retirement plans across the globe, actually. But what if you could take advantage of market crashes without participating in the crash itself? That may sound a little strange, but according to ChatGPT, the average annualized returns following the three biggest downturns of the century that I just mentioned were 13%, 20%, and 60% annualized returns, respectively. And that's just the recovery to get back what was lost, not anything after that. Doug, that's kind of strange. Take advantage of a market crash. What does that mean?
I am glad you are asking. On my YouTube channel, sometimes when I explain this, I get comments because they weren't really listening. And they'll say, so all I have to do is make sure I know just before the market crashes how to act. I'm going,
right.
That's it. No.
That's timing the market.
We
don't do that.
That is not the point. So listen very carefully to this. So the fact of the matter is, in any given decade since the Great Depression, there's usually 3 down years compared to 7 up years. Some of those are more significant than others. The one in 2001, which was about a 40% drop, took 3 years after the 9/11 terrorist attacks. 2008, the mortgage meltdown, was 1 year. People lost 40% for the second time in a decade. We have COVID.
Whoa. Don't say that word.
I think March of 2020
okay.
During COVID, it was 1 month and the market dropped 30%. Okay. So when those things happen, I have a favorite saying from my good friend Richard Rossi. He says, when there's anxiety, that spells opportunity. Okay. What do we mean by that? The fact of the matter is, the market is not going to keep going up forever. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when we have those crashes, the opportunity with indexing, because first of all, our favorite product, Index Universal Life, we have, Aaron, a saying zero something.
Zero's the hero.
There you go. Zero
the hero.
Is your hero, because you may not make anything during a market crash or downturn, but you don't lose due to that market downturn. Right. You get zero. But then when the market goes down, what normally happens, it comes back up.
Okay? 100% of the time. It's always happening.
So it sort of allows us to reset. Yep. Now, when we have those opportunities, the market goes down, and sometimes people get going in their work environment, and they just keep putting money in their 401k in the market, and then everything's hunky-dory until the market crashes, and we haven't been able to get their attention. And so it's not like we celebrate when the market crashes, but
Right.
but when that would happen, we'd go,
Almost.
hello, everybody, hello. None of our clients lost anything during that crash, and we finally get their attention. Well, how did they not lose? Well, because of our product, it's not invested in the market. It's linked, and now they're willing to listen. Okay, but the way you take advantage of it is you can then reset. And Emran and Aaron will talk about this. During COVID, for example, they contacted about 800 of our clients and said, hey, why don't you switch to a 1-year point-to-point no cap threshold strategy, which we normally don't use because a threshold, they subtract like 5%.
Right.
And so if you were to average, if you had a 12% gain year, you'd only net 7. So we usually don't use that, a threshold strategy. Yeah. But if the market has a potential to go up dramatically, like it did, then you don't care about the 5% because if the market rebounds as much as 18, 20, 60% in one single year, you subtract 5 off of that and the return's still incredible. So that's why it spells opportunity. So maybe Emran and Aaron can explain a little bit more about these different strategies.
Emran, let's go to you. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts right now is a market crash is likened unto the pain and discomfort of a kidney stone. You know, that pain, it's painful to go through one of those.
It looks painful right now.
If you liken it under the pain of that kidney stone, no, as the market recovers, obviously that once it finally does recover, you know, you finally experience that peace and comfort of passing that
stone.
Yes,
right.
It
is, but you are in so much pain and discomfort until that happens, and then that peace is just amazing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the great thing is like Doug's talking about. I mean, if you can go through that without experiencing the pain of the kidney stone, I mean, imagine that. I mean, you can go through and you can still experience the peace, the joy without experiencing the pain.
Yes.
I mean, right now you ask me and I'd say, yes, please. Yes, please.
Get rid of that pain.
Yes, please.
I didn't realize this has become such a big part of the show.
No. That's all I can think of. I mean,
it's great.
It is.
That's right. We're gonna leave you. We're gonna leave you. So just
to be honest, my clients, it's like them going through a kidney stone in the market crash. No, but really though, the indexing is so powerful because the gains are locked in from the previous year.
Yeah.
So not only like when the market crashes, everyone's seeing everything they're losing. In IUL, you lock in your gains from the previous year. And then you get 0 if the market's bad that year. Then you reset to what the market is on that date that you were linked to the market.
Right.
So we don't have to wait for it to come back up to where it is. A lot of you might be thinking that. You think, oh, well, I got to wait for the market to recover.
Oh,
I might not lose.
Pay attention to this. Pay attention to this. This is so smart. This is so big.
It's like annual reset. We reset to whatever the market is on that day.
So now you're resetting at the low.
Right. As if you did experience the crash or the correction, but you're down, you're resetting wherever it is.
You get to experience the low without actually having to lose.
And then Aaron, something Doug mentioned, he said, not only you get 0 as the hero, right? But then he talked about choosing which index you want after the market crash for that upside swing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. As the market's crashing or going down, you want to start to get into these strategies that might be no cap strategies, like a no cap with 5 or 6 off the top, or a 2-year or a 5-year S&P account with no cap. So when you talk with your IRO specialist, like, you know, one of us, for example, we're going to say, hey, we want to use these strategies that have more upside because the market usually rebounds pretty good.
Yeah, and make sure it's not one of those low volatility no cap indexes. Those are the most common ones that don't have a cap.
Yes.
Those are not going to perform in a recovery.
At least not right now.
Yeah, they're not going to.
They haven't been doing well lately.
Well, and they won't do it because, I mean, obviously that steep recovery.
Right.
You're going to be volatile.
Yeah, it's not as equity based.
You're going to be so bond-based.
You're going to want a volatility based index.
Good point.
So it's
a good point.
In index, it's all equities. S&P, QQQ index. You know, that's
NASDAQ,
usually
Dow Jones, whatever it is.
Yeah, most companies use the S&P. It's going to be most likely the S&P, but it's just so powerful. Locked in gains, annual reset, 0's your hero.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Scott.
I mean, it'd be like a doctor coming to you and saying, I guarantee you will never get a kidney stone in your entire life.
Please.
How would you like that?
Hey, where's that doctor? give me the name. Give me the name. But, I mean, and the
I do say it, but I hate it, but I do like to say it. the best part about this is we don't participate in the loss.
Yeah.
So
And like
we don't
emotionally, right?
Yeah.
When the market's crashing, 99% of the world out
I
there
remember
is freaking out.
I remember seeing my dad market crashes and he's just like, oh, looking at his 401k
Yeah,
statement.
Right.
Freaking out about it. But so the combination of both the zero
Right.
from protection of when the market goes down, and then the fact that we reset at whatever the value of the market is, makes it that it's a fantastic combination.
Yeah.
I actually had clients that called me in April, after the tariff
With the tariff crashing.
crash,
Yeah, we're gonna do
and
it.
they knew the advantage of it.
Yes.
And they said, I want to put everything into the no cap.
and they
S&P."
weren't panicking or anything.
They were loving it.
Yes.
They got it.
Oh, it's amazing.
And as of right now, they're going to get a huge return.
Yeah. If
Come
it,
April next year.
Yeah. 'cause-
right now
yeah.
they're looking at
Yeah.
least at a 40% growth this year
Jeez.
if it just stays at.
Yeah, because that was early April.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
right.
Nice.
So in case you missed it, you don't have to sit there and go, oh, when's the next crash and do
No.
something before the crash.
Right. You're not timing
No,
the market.
You wait until after the fact. Oh, that crashed. And then, so what was the end result? We talked about 3 periods. 2001, the terrorist attacks.
Yeah.
Okay. The market dropped 40% over 3 years, took 4 years to come back. Our clients, they didn't lose.
Mm.
And by rebalancing, they came out ahead, many of them doubling their money, and when most Americans weren't even back to break even. By the end of
Right.
2012, most Americans who lost 40% again in 2008 took 4 years to come back to break even.
Yeah.
Those people had $1 million in the S&P, barely had $1,046,000 12 years later. Wow. Clients with IUL, they didn't lose in both of those downturns, and they ended up with 2.5-3 million from their million they started with. We talk about March of 2020. We had those clients. The market was up to March of 2021, 66.23%.
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Minus 5.
For the
Those
spread.
clients got credited 61.33% tax-free in 1 year.
In a life insurance policy.
Tax-
think about that.
Tax free with guarantees you can't
Wild.
lose.
And there were some small policies, and you had a client with 852,000 that grew to 1,387,000, made 535 grand in one single year because of the
Yeah. that
opportunity when the
strategy.
market crashed.
And,
Yeah.
and the market had a pretty good dip in 2022. Went down 20% in
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
We've had a good.
It wasn't a big crash, but
Yeah.
No. So
Still,
but getting zero that year and then getting good gains the next year.
Well,
is
and then
just the power
also-
of indexing.
we haven't talked about the lonely fixed account option as well. I mean, that is an option that you have.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
You could
If
always
you
put
did-
money into the fixed
If you were
account,
completely convinced the
Yep.
market was going to crash, they actually offer a fixed
and you will get a
rate.
return no matter what the market does.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, well, coming up later, should you make extra payments to the mortgage company? But first, just a reminder that if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it, please like and subscribe and ask us a question or a comment.
Ding.
Can arbitrage drastically increase your retirement income? We talked in one of our previous shows about the 4% rule and how it's a limiting factor on traditional retirement accounts and how much income they can take. But can anything be done to supersize your retirement income payout without changing how your assets are allocated? Aaron, what is arbitrage in this context, and can it drastically increase your retirement income?
Okay. Arbitrage is basically the definition is, borrowing at one rate and earning a higher rate. Okay. Kind of arbitrage because you're borrowing, like you showed on the screen a second ago, borrowing at 5, still earning 7. So
which
most-
is what banks do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what banks are doing is, you put money in the bank, they pay you this, and they, lend it out to other people at a higher rate, right? It's arbitrage. So basically an IUL or most financial vehicles in retirement, you're just taking withdrawals out and you're reducing your balance when you take money out. Okay. With IUL, what's so different is you want to read this in the book in chapter 8, we talk about the sad way, the smart way, and the dumb way. Okay. The sad way is by dying. The dumb way is to take out withdrawals. Okay. We don't want to take out withdrawals. You want to take loans. The reason you want to take loans and people say, loans, what comes with a loan, you guys?
Interest rate, charge
Like,
rate.
so people think, loans are bad because I got to pay interest. With IUL, the reason you take loans is because it's tax-free. All right. So that is why you take loans, because it's tax-free. But there's 2 types of loans. There's what's called a zero wash loan or zero cost loan. I'm just going to say you borrow it, for example, 3%. Okay. And the collateral, because instead of withdrawing the money, you borrow against it. So let's say you had $1 million in the policy. If you took out 100 grand in the form of a loan, you can borrow that 100,000, they're going to charge you 3% interest on that loan. That's $3,000. Out of your $1 million, okay, out of your $1 million, there's going to be $100,000 that you did not take out. You borrowed against it. That money is going to be set aside and earn a guaranteed rate of 3%. So you're charged 3% on your $100,000 loan. The collateral, $100,000 of your money in the policy, is earning a guaranteed rate of 3%. That's called a zero wash loan. You borrow 3%.
Basically cancels itself out.
So you have a net of 900.
Yeah.
You have a net of 900 in the policy. Same thing as if you withdrew the money. It's important. Same kind of concept as if you withdrew it.
Yeah.
But you do it that way because it's
Tax-free.
Tax-free.
Now, arbitrage, though, that was not arbitrage.
Right.
Borrowing at 3, earning 3 is not arbitrage.
Right.
Most insurance companies, almost all of them, have what's called these loans that are called index loans, participating loans, variable loans, alternative loans. They call it, different name. But these type of loans is where you borrow from the insurance company at 5%. And I always say I don't like when people say you're borrowing from yourself.
Right, because it's not quite true.
You're borrowing from the insurance company, and they're using your cash value as collateral for the loan.
Right.
Okay, it's simple as that.
Yeah.
So if we borrow that 100,000, same example now, you're going to borrow 100 grand, and they're going to charge you 5% interest, all right? And you're not paying it. When do you have to pay off the loan? Never gets paid off when you die.
Yeah.
So it gets paid off when you die. So these examples, and we're going to go to the wisdom board in a second, but first, you borrow that 100 grand at 5%. Now, the $1 million that's in there that's collateral, that 100 grand of that money that is collateral for the 100,000 loan, that stays in the index account.
Yeah, they don't actually take it out and pay off the loan. They leave it in the policy.
It only pays off the loan when you
Die. Yeah.
So that 100 grand that's the collateral for the loan, it stays inside the index accounts. Now, some years we're going to earn 0, right, guys?
Right.
But on average, we're going to earn 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, some even 11, 12%. Some of these returns we were just talking about, we got real high returns. But on average, if we earn 7.5% average, simple, great return, tax-free, and borrow against it at 5%, that 2.5% spread, let's see what it does for us. Let's go to the wisdom board
now. Yeah, because it only sounds like, if you are being charged 5% and you earn 7.5%, it's only 2.5%. It doesn't sound like a lot.
Doesn't sound like a lot, does it? So here on the screen, well, let's go to the one that was the zero wash loan. A zero wash loan example here on the screen. So look at this one on the screen here, you guys. This is a simulator, kind of simulating what this would look like. So I'm going to zoom in here so you guys can see it really, really well. So here is $100,000 going in for 5 years. This is just a typical illustration. What I want you to focus on is right here in year 15. We have got $62,000 a year of income coming out. So this example is earning 7.5%. There's fees and expenses in the policy. You got a death benefit. But as you start to borrow this $62,000 out, you're borrowing at the same rate you're earning.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a withdrawal, but it's tax-free.
So it's like the zero wash version, basically.
Like borrowing at 3, earning 3, basically.
Right.
Okay. It's actually this one I ran it at 7.5 and earning 7.5. So that's why the interest here. But let's look at that. $62,000 a year. That is a 6% payout, we call it.
Okay.
That is 6% of the $1 million. Okay. Keeping it simple. And you scroll down here and, we still got 800 grand at death at 100. Okay. So we maintained about $1 million in the account. Down here, you want to look at the gray. We have about 800 grand left. You die, you leave behind 900,000. Let's look at the other example. This one here. All right. Same example, same dollars in here, earning an example of 7.5%. We borrow against it, though, at 5%. Look at the income now. I am showing on this one a 9% payout, taking out 90, and I could take out 10, depletes it a little bit, but it still lasts at 100. So I backed off at 9% on this one. Wow. So we're earning 7.5%, borrowing against it at 5%. And because of that arbitrage, this is what's wild. Look at age, look at age 80 here. Age 80, you still have $3 million in your account. You did not withdraw the money. You borrowed against it.
Yeah.
So that you still have $3 million earning 7.5%. You have a $2.5 million loan balance that's highlighted right now. That is being charged what? 5%.
5%.
So you're not paying loan interest, you guys. It's compounding on the loan.
Right.
But what if I earn 10% that year instead of 7.5%?
Ooh, it's going to be even better. If you're at 0, it's fine. That's why you don't want to take out too much. You want to keep enough in there because you can deplete any account. It's like any financial vehicle. But here you got 650 left. You die, leave behind 679. But down here, down at the bottom, we have like $3 million still left at 100 because all this money, this orange account has been earning the interest of 7.5 still while your loan balance is being charged 5. So when you meet with an IUL specialist, you've got both loans. You got a zero wash loan that's more conservative, or you got this other loan feature that is not necessarily aggressive, but it's where you're
But
borrowing.
your indexing could get zero in a particular year, or zero in any given year, right?
Yeah,
So
so you want to be careful how much you're taking out, of
Right.
course, just like any, but you don't want to deplete any financial vehicle in retirement.
Of course,
you want to
right.
take out a conservative amount, but look at that. 50% higher income from 60 grand to 90 grand, tax-free. And imagine if we were earning 8, 9, 10 and borrowing at 5, even better.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a 50%
Raise.
increase, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
wild.
mean, who's going to turn down a 50% raise in retirement?
Oh, tax-free,
You're
by
like,
the way.
yeah, you know
Oh
what?
yeah, tax free. Right.
Tax-free.
Here's a raise, and it's not taxable.
That's amazing. Emran, any other thoughts on that, Emran?
No, other than again, as you're seeing that that miracle of 93 million, that miracle of compound interest. I mean, that's what we're really working at here. Is how are we approaching that? I always look at it. If you want to make sure you don't run out of money in retirement, it's how do I pursue, protect, and preserve not just my principal. Everybody talks about, most financial advisors are like, how do I protect and preserve your principal? We're like, no, you got to protect also the compound interest. If you don't protect compound interest, you're going to be subject to the 4% rule, and then you're going to run out of money. Right? If you want to protect, you got to preserve and protect, and perpetuate your compound interest as well as your principal. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what makes it all the difference in the world. I mean, an inflation hedge. I mean, that alone is one of the best inflation hedges I've ever come across.
Good point. Yeah, it just adds that extra bit to stay ahead of inflation. That's awesome. Scott, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I know you said that Aaron is your slowest child of all, but he does pretty good at that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty brilliant.
Got that one.
No, I think that arbitrage, I mean, that's so funny because the zero that we just talked about, the resetting of the indexes, and now this talking about arbitrage just is why I love doing this. It's just incredible. So
that's awesome. Doug, wrap us up on this segment.
Remind me of, in Princess Bride, is it Hugo Montoya? Hugo.
Yeah, my name
Inigo
is
Montoya.
Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, and
Yes.
he comes, he comes to the wall. Let me summarize. Let me summarize. Okay. Many times when I start a new audience, when I used to teach even 3-day education events, I'd say, okay, by the end of this clarity retreat, you will learn how an insurance company on its billions of assets earning 5% can afford to credit you on an IUL 8%. How could they do that? That's a question I've had for years.
Yeah.
By taking the interest and you're letting them,
because their general account portfolio, by virtue of fact, is only earning 4, 5,
you
6.
have $1 million in
somewhere
your
in that range.
IUL and 5%. You could settle for $50,000 during the downtime, but you can say, hey, you can take that $50,000 and buy upside options to credit me if the market goes up. Okay, and if it crashes, the options expire worthless. But then I say you will also learn how an insurance company, even if they were crediting you 8, you could pull out 10% a year and not deplete your principal. And people go, huh? It's because of this magic of arbitrage.
Yeah.
Many times a client, you have a $1 million nest egg, and what Aaron was just showing you, if you're earning 8% net, that's $80,000 a year. Well, we just showed you could bump that up to a 10% payout, $100,000 a year, and not deplete your $1 million because of this arbitrage. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah, that's amazing. And sometimes we'll show more conservative examples, but this is just a good example to kind of give you an idea.
Like we can run all sorts of numbers. Like, hey, what if we earn a lower return? Well, we should take out a little less.
Yes,
it's like,
exactly.
This is not an annuity that's like guaranteed income. This is a projection.
Yep.
So we're looking at these numbers and saying, all right, helping you be educated to say, all right, to understand what it does at different returns and different examples.
Yeah.
And everybody watching this right now is working with institutions that do arbitrage at banks. Banks do this all day, all the time.
It's actually very common.
We're now working with institutions that are far stronger and better and have more money with life insurance companies.
Yeah, great point.
Imagine how much better it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, coming up, does making extra mortgage payments pass the laser test? But first, if you're enjoying this content and you're wondering how to take advantage of these ideas, Laser Financial helps individuals and families like yours implement proven strategies to grow and protect your wealth. One of the most powerful tools is an Index Universal Life Policy, or IUL. It's not just insurance, it's a tax-free retirement strategy, a way to grow your money with compound interest and a safety net against market downturns. Imagine being protected from market losses while still participating when the market goes up and having tax-free income that allows you to keep more of what you've worked so hard to save. Go to laserfinancial.com or call 801-505-0409 to schedule a free consultation and see how these strategies can work for you. That's laserfinancial.com or call 801-505-0409. Don't wait. Take the first step toward a brighter, more secure financial future today. Are you a financial professional wondering how you can expand your business working with IUL? Are you leveraging IUL to its full potential? That's where IUL Insiders comes in. In the upcoming weeks, they're hosting the IUL Challenge. It's a free 3-day event designed specifically for financial professionals to help you build a thriving, scalable business that sets you apart from the competition. You'll learn proven strategies to market, design, and sell properly structured policies. That was an important part of what you just showed, is a properly structured policy, right?
Yep.
That deliver incredible results for your clients and for your bottom line. If you're ready to elevate your practice and scale your business, visit IULchallenge.com/93 to save your seat. Spots are limited, so don't wait. That's IULchallenge.com/93 and take your business to the next level. Does making extra mortgage payments pass the laser test? Does it make sense? The laser test, of course, is a measure of liquidity, safety, rate of return, and we'll throw tax advantages in there. As outlined in the book, The Laser Fund. Now, according to Brian Boswell at Forbes.com, drawbacks of prepaying your mortgage can include opportunity cost, loss of tax deductibility, lack of liquidity, and increased risk exposure to the housing market. According to Bankrate.com, they cite some similar examples, saying that if you invest extra money at a higher rate of return, your money might work harder for you than by eliminating your mortgage. Of course, there are obvious disadvantages of making extra mortgage payments as well. But Doug, does making extra mortgage payments pass the laser test?
No, it does not. And I've learned this years ago and talked about it in, I think, every one of my financial books. So again, the laser test, if I send extra principal payments to the mortgage company, I used to act like, well, here, Mr. Banker, mortgage banker, here's an extra $100. Here's an extra $1,000. Don't pay me any interest on that. Okay. If I want it back, I'll borrow it back on your terms and prove there's a need why I should have it. Sounds sort of stupid when I say it that way.
Yeah.
But see, the only way you can get it back if you pay it to the mortgage company is you've got to borrow it back and make sure you can qualify. And when people need it the worst, it's the hardest to get. Okay?
Right.
Yeah. Because they don't loan you based on the amount of equity. They loan you based on your ability to repay.
Right.
And if you've been laid off or lost your job, which is the number one cause of home foreclosure, I think is financial disability, even over physical disability. Okay. Losing a job and what have you. They're going to say fat chance. They loan you based upon your ability to repay. So otherwise you got to sell the property. And usually when you really need to sell the property, that's a distress sell. It's not a good time. And so, yeah, it doesn't pass liquidity. You can't get that money readily. Safety, you send it to the mortgage company. And I've seen people do that for years, and they pay down their mortgage, and then all of a sudden a recession hits, and their house values go down. Like in 2008, my house went down in value from $1.5 million down to $1.1 million. Okay, $400,000 in one single year.
Yeah.
Now I didn't lose because I hadn't paid that. I didn't have that. I had a first mortgage 80% loan to value and a second and a third because I don't do that. It's way smarter to take that extra mortgage payment and put it in a position of liquidity. If you need to access it, you can do it. Like a liquid IUL laser fund, okay? That's where I keep mine. So this is any kind of real estate. I would recommend this. Safety, when my house went down in value, I didn't lose. In fact, my money in my laser fund was earning twice as much as the mortgage interest rate. I was making 8 and my net cost, tax deductible, was 4. I was making 100% more than the cost of the mortgage. So I was also earning a rate of return, which is the third. The R in laser is rate of return. So I was earning a rate of return twice or double. If you give it to the mortgage company, you're actually not earning a rate of return because your house is going to go up or down in value regardless of whether it's full of equity, empty, mortgage to the hilt, or free and clear. So the answer to your question, you said extra principal payments. Yeah, you could get out of debt. I mean, let's take a 15-year mortgage. You're paying a higher principal and interest payment.
Right.
You're going to get it paid off in 15 years.
Right.
And you think, oh, look at this. I saved this much. All I'm saying is if you socked away that differential between a 30-year amortized mortgage payment and a 15-year amortized mortgage payment, and if you also set aside the tax savings you will achieve during the first 15 years of a 30-year mortgage over into a compounding side fund, you'll actually have enough money to pay off the 30-year mortgage in 12 and a half years, 2.5 years sooner than the 15-year mortgage. But you'll have liquidity, safety, and be earning a rate of return on that money that you would be tempted to make in extra principal payments. So I bring up a 15-year mortgage payment because it's like an extra principal payment that you would make on a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah, like that bank rate, article talked about.
Exactly.
Emran and Aaron, anything you guys would add to that?
I always look at this. It's always that argument between simple interest and compound interest. Most advisors, they try to say,
that's a big one.
I'm sad, but they kind of get a little bit short-sighted. And they actually even try to fear you into the fact of, hey, if you take out a normal mortgage, look how much interest you're going to pay over 30 years.
Yeah, sure.
And that's how they scare you into sending extra principal payments to the mortgage company.
Right.
Look at all this interest you're going to pay. Now, most people think, and they worried, if I'm paying that much interest, I'm paying compound interest. No, you're not. You're not paying interest on interest.
Right.
On your mortgage, you only pay interest on what you owe.
Yeah.
Which is called simple interest.
On a declining balance.
On a declining balance.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so if you I'll put it up every time. I'll put compound interest up against simple interest every day, all day long. And if I can get that momentum, again, if you remember the miracle of 93 million, every time I'm folding my sheet of paper, if I'm folding my sheet of paper and I've got 2 more folds than you do because I didn't send extra principal payments to my mortgage company, you're like, well, that's not that big of a deal. Oh, wait until I get a couple more folds in.
Right.
All of a sudden I've got $1 million and you've only got 250,000.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I've got 2 million. You might have 500,000
because you're compounding on the latest number.
Yeah. I'm constant. So I'm ahead of the game. I mean, it's about having a millionaire mindset. Understand how money works. You've got to think more like a millionaire mindset rather than just a simpleton mindset.
Well, sorry, Dave Ramsey is the simple mindset.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't be disciplined. I need to put extra principal payments, on my mortgage. Right. This is the millionaire mindset.
The case.
Which is great.
Fine. It's
if
totally
you
fine.
don't have if you lack discipline, then sure.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, if you have discipline to send extra principal payments to a mortgage company, then you've got financial discipline to go ahead and put that somewhere else.
Yeah. Save and invest it, but it's basically just taking a step up of understanding of and all the people, high net worth business owners, they understand leverage.
Yeah.
They understand why I should have debt here and then have my liquidity over here.
Yeah, because it's how you view debt too, right? You may look at this and say, no, this pocket of money represents this debt or whatever, right?
Yeah. You've seen all those
how
reels.
You view debt, right?
I've seen all those reels all the time there where people are coming up like, I pay $12 million a year in mortgage payments. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, what? Yeah. And that $12 million a year in mortgage payments is currently making me $45 million in income.
Right.
It's like, well, why don't you just get rid of the mortgage? Well, because I'm not going to get rid of the mortgage payments.
Yeah.
I mean, they understand.
Yeah. Because
they understand how money works.
Yeah. Many companies and churches even have assets that offset liabilities and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Scott, any wrap up thoughts on this?
I let's if we can put a link down to Doug's story. I mean, the whole reason I think we're sitting here is going back to Doug's story.
Oh yeah.
When he shared his example.
You can search Doug Andrew, I think, personal story.
Yeah.
Search that on YouTube.
You pull up my YouTube channel and it's the video.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Channel video.
So that's a great one just to listen to that, because I think that teaches the principle right there that really putting that money to work somewhere else rather than paying it into your principal of your home.
Yeah.
It didn't work out.
Yeah. Good call. Good call on that. Okay.
Let me summarize.
Yes. Circle all the way
What?
back.
Your name's not on this program.
So, I have talked about this for now 5 decades, and I learned the hard way. Okay. And I wasn't making extra principal payments. I just had a lot of equity in my home. And I realized that did not pass liquidity, safety, nor rate of return test. Okay. And so the point I want everybody to get from this, if you would be tempted to make extra mortgage payments, all I'm saying is, well, way to go. But as Emma just said, if you got the discipline to do that, and you put that over in a compounding account tax-free, okay, like our laser fund, that will grow to enable you to not only get out of debt in the same time frame, but probably 2 or 3 years sooner, and you would have more liquidity, safety, and rate of return than that method. So why not do it? I would do it for the laser advantages, even if it paid off my house in the same time period. But it'll actually pay it off usually a few years earlier. So the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago back in 2006, when I told this story, the $100,000 mistake, back then it was a $25,000 mistake.
Yeah, I remember this.
That millions of Americans are making by making extra principal payments to the mortgage company. And people said, is Doug Andrew telling the truth? And so the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago hired 3 gurus, and they issued a 38-page report.
Yeah.
And their conclusion was, if Americans are making prepayments against their mortgages, that's really a mistake because they're giving up liquidity and safety.
Right.
They called it a misallocation of funds. And they said you'd reap a substantial gain if you didn't do that, but put it over in a compounding account. This is the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago.
Not an itty bitty gain, a substantial gain.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So
It's impressive.
you don't have to take just our word for it. And this guy was from Forbes that also said the same thing.
All right. Well, just a reminder that if you enjoy this content and you want to see more of it, please like and subscribe and ask us a question or comment. Hey, we may use it in one of our next shows. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Take advantage of market crashes. Make arbitrage work for you, and we'll see you next time.
Punch 'em in the kidneys.
93 million.
Tune in to avoid financial kidney stones.
Take care of those kidneys and kidney stones.
Thanks, everybody.